Hi everybody, James here. This week I wanted to go over one of our important assignments that we're going to have for this semester, and that is assignment 1, which is a persuasive paragraph that we're going to write. So I'm going to go over a couple of things that will help you to write this persuasive paragraph, and hopefully it'll make things a lot easier in your writing. Okay, so first things first, for our assignment, we're going to write a persuasive paragraph. It's also called an opinion paragraph. And this is going to be for an assignment 1, okay? So the thing about a persuasive paragraph is you want to express your opinion. Your goal is to share your opinion with an audience, whether it's a reader or whether it's a listener. So your goal is basically to explain how you feel on an issue or a topic about something. Okay, it's got to be a topic more like a debate. It usually has to have two sides. You explain whether you agree or you disagree with an issue. Okay, you can't do both. You have to agree or you have to disagree, and you can't say, I agree with this, but I also disagree with this. No, you have to choose one side. Your ultimate goal is basically to help the reader or the listener to understand your opinion. So you have to give them some information about that. Okay? So stating opinions is pretty easy, and actually we did that last week when you guys were answering the question, in your opinion, what is the best movie or best TV show? So oftentimes an opinion starts with phrases like this. Okay, in my opinion, I think that. In my opinion, I feel that. Or in my opinion, I believe that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, a lot of people use those, but they're not actually necessary. But it's usually started with something like this, but not always. So for this week, what you guys are going to be doing, you're going to be start thinking about what you're going to write about for your first paper. Okay, for your assignment 1, your persuasive paragraph. So start thinking about something you are interested in or something that motivates you, something that you think about quite a bit or is important to you. Okay, so let's look at an example here. Okay, I have an example, and this example is called Kung Fu, and I also want you to print out or at least look over the outline that I posted. That way you can follow along, and you can use this outline as sort of a way to organize your own paper. Okay, so let's take a look at this. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over this example here called Kung Fu. And like I said, use this to sort of guide you. As you can see, each sentence is broken down into certain types. Like the first sentence is called an introductory sentence. The second is a reason, and then an example, and then another reason. So if we take a look at Kung Fu, we can see that each sentence has its own way of expressing things. So if we look at this first sentence here, okay, and if we go back to our outline, it says, okay, this is an introductory sentence, so we want to state our opinion. Okay, and you can see this person here states their opinion very clearly. They say, in my opinion, I think that Kung Fu is the perfect sport for young children. Okay, it's the perfect sport. Maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't. Okay, they're using this as a basis for expressing their opinion or their beliefs about Kung Fu in general, and they say it's the perfect sport. Now, what the writer needs to do now is the writer needs to give us some reasons. Okay, tell us why they believe that Kung Fu is the perfect sport. And they usually start off with something called signals. And we'll see here it says, first of all, and this is a signal too. You'll notice that the bold face here, the bold face, the gurke, is very important. Okay, so we need to know that. So it says, first of all, so that means, okay, here comes the first reason. First of all, it does not cost much, so it is not a financial burden. Okay, that's a very good reason. Okay, it doesn't cost much, it's cheap. Okay, now if you give a reason, if you look at your outline, you must also give an example. So you give a reason, and then you give an example. Okay, an example, you just need to give more information about your reason. Sort of explain it more. Okay, help your reader to understand. So you say, well, why do you believe Kung Fu is the perfect sport? Well, here's my first reason. It does not cost much. Oh, okay. Can you give me some more information? Sure. For example, a typical uniform is less than $50 and monthly lessons are not expensive compared to other sports. Ah, okay. So now the reason becomes a little bit more clear. So they gave us a reason, then they gave us an example to support their reason. Next comes another reason. We can see that because, okay, here's another signal. So in addition, there's a second reason, and then they're going to give us an example for the second reason, and then they're going to give us a final reason. There are only 3 reasons, and 3 reasons is perfect for your paper. So finally, okay, they let me know, they let the reader know that there are no more reasons coming after that. So finally, and then they give an example for their final reason as well. So they follow this pattern here where you have the introductory sentence and then you've got reason, example, reason, example, and reason, example. Okay, it's a very simple pattern that people use to express their opinions and to give persuasive paragraphs or to write persuasive paragraphs. Okay, lastly is your concluding sentence. Now this is an important sentence. This is where you restate your opinion and finalize your thoughts. Okay, we're restating them. We're not using the same words that we used in our topic sentence. So if we look here, it says, for these reasons, I strongly believe. Okay, this strongly, this is your final thoughts. You really have to give power for your final thoughts here. Okay, so it says, for these reasons, I strongly believe that parents should consider Kung Fu as a sport for their children. Okay, it's the same meaning as they mentioned in the topic sentence here. Kung Fu is the perfect sport for young children. Parents should consider Kung Fu as a sport for their children. The meaning is the same, but the words are different. So again, do not just copy and paste your topic sentence. Okay, make sure that you restate it, use different words, but have the same meaning. Okay, so overall, this Kung Fu, this is a great example of a persuasive paragraph. And when you give me your persuasive paragraph, you should give me something that looks just like this. Okay? You'll notice that I did not post this document. I'm not going to because I want you guys to prepare your paper yourself. Okay, so again, look at this paper. Okay, yours should look exactly like this. And I will show you the guidelines here just a little bit, okay? Okay, so let's go back to our PPT here, okay? So we just looked at a great example, okay? Remember, use your outline to help guide you. Use it to help you organize your paper. I do not need it, okay? It's just for you, okay? So let's go back and let's consider the gulke, the boldface that we saw there. And I call this the target language. Okay, this is our target language. And you'll notice that the topic sentence started off with something very basic, okay? The target language that we use to introduce our topic and what I'm going to be looking for is something like this. Okay, so topic sentences are often introduced with these phrases. Okay, in my opinion, I feel that, or I don't feel that. You can have an agreement or you can have a disagreement. So something like this. And it's good to combine phrases, okay? It just makes your paper a little bit longer. Topic sentences can be a combination of phrases, and I suggest you do this. Just add some more words. So if you agree with something, you can say, in my opinion, I think that blah, blah, blah. Here's a phrase, here's a phrase, here's a signal, here's a signal. It's just put together. Or if you disagree with something, you can say, in my opinion, I don't think that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so combine those phrases. It makes your paper a little bit longer when you're doing that, okay? So that's how you introduce your topic, okay? Reason target language. Okay, how do you introduce your reasons? What signals do you use? Very simple, okay? Reasons help support your opinion. You have to explain why you believe that. So reasons are often introduced with something like this, first, second, And finally, okay, very simple for signals, or I like very long signals. Okay, my first reason for this is, my second reason for this is, or my final reason for this is. Okay, those are all great. Okay, they make your paper a little bit longer, and I'll show you some writing tips here in just a little bit. Okay, explain why those are good. You can use other phrases. If you remember Kung Fu, they said in addition, okay, or for your final reason, you can say lastly or something like that. Okay, so whatever, but you do have to use signals, help your reader. Examples are often introduced with these phrases. Okay, not too many for your examples. You can say for example or for instance. Or if you have 2 or 3 examples for your reason, you can say one example, another example, or one instance and another instance. You can say something like that. And then for your concluding sentence, your target language, concluding sentences often are introduced with these phrases. Very simple. In conclusion, for these reasons, that was Kung Fu right there, or therefore. Therefore is very basic. But remember, you also want to add your final thoughts as well. So you want to add some strength, add some power to your final sentence, like this. In conclusion, I strongly think that, or I strongly believe that, blah, blah, blah. Or even more power, you can have something like, I demand. For these reasons, I demand that parents take their kids to Kung Fu. Or I insist that children should learn Kung Fu. Okay, give some power there at the end. Your final thoughts help me to understand your opinion, make me believe you. Okay, all right, so that was your target language. Okay, those were your signals. Okay, I'm going to call them signals from now on. Okay, so let me give you some writing tips here. And as I mentioned, try to use long signals. Okay, why? Well, here's why. If you try to use the long signals, you'll see that there are many words. Okay, just the signals by themselves are 36 words. Okay, so if you make them long signals, you don't have to write as much, okay, for the rest of your paper. Okay, so try to use the long signals there. Another writing tip would be try to use simple sentences. Okay, some of your writing, it needs a little help, so we need to start off very easy, very simple. Okay, and when we're writing simple sentences, we use formulas. Okay, formulas like math or like chemistry, we put them together with our signals and we can make nice sentences. Okay, here are the 4 formulas for simple sentences. Okay, S of course stands for subject, and V of course stands for the verb. And like I said, when you put the signals with these formulas, you can make very nice sentences. Okay, for example, if you have, like in my opinion, I think that pizza is the best. Pizza is the best, that's a very simple sentence, right? So you have our signal, in my opinion, I think that pizza is the best. That's a very simple sentence. It's an SV sentence, okay? So overall, in general, these formulas and these signals make very, very nice sentences. But what is a sentence? Okay, a sentence, of course, is a group of words. It must have a subject, it must have a verb, but it also must express a complete thought. You can't just say, good morning, everyone, I am. You can't just say that. You have to have an object sometimes. So it has to make sense as well. One subject-verb pair. Subject tells who or what something did. Okay, we know what the subject is, the jewel. And the verb, okay, it's the action or it's the condition. Condition like be verb. Am, is, are, or, was, and were. Okay, so you have to express those in those ways. Those formulas that I just told you about, there they are. Okay, now how do you use them? Okay, how can you use them to make sentences? Well, these formulas will help you to make sentences. Okay, they'll help you make your opinions, they'll help you make your reasons and examples. Like I said, you just add the signals before the formulas and you can have something very nice, like this. Okay, here's an SV, okay, subject, verb, and don't just think it's 2 words, it's not, okay? The death penalty is useful. Here, the death penalty, that's the full subject, and here's the verb. Okay, so it's very, very simple. This is a simple sentence, subject, verb. The object doesn't count toward the formula. So here we've got subject, verb formula. Okay, Now if we put a signal in front of it, we can change it into an opinion, like this. In my opinion, I think that the death penalty is useful. Okay, now we've got a very nice sentence. We know it's an opinion now. We've got our signal. We've got another signal here too, but that doesn't count. We've already got our signal. So we've got our signal plus our formula. Got a very nice opinion going on there, okay? So that's one way you can do it. Okay, if we take our SSV, our subject-verb, you can just simply make a sentence like this. Smartphones and computers are necessary for students. Simply put and in between the subjects, okay? So yeah, smartphones and computers are necessary for students. Now if we want to change this into an opinion, we can do that. We can say, in my opinion, I believe that smartphones and computers are necessary for students. Okay, nice beautiful sentence going on there. You have your signals and you have your formulas. Okay, very nice. Your SVV, okay, subject, verb, verb. Okay, here's another example. Smoking damages and destroys people's health. Now let's say I already have my opinion. In my opinion, I think that smoking is bad. Okay, that's my opinion. Now I can take this and I can change it into a reason, make it into a reason if I put a reason signal in front of it. So let's do that. You can say, my first reason for this, smoking damages and destroys people's health. You can say, in my opinion, I think smoking is bad. And then you can say, my first reason for this is smoking damages and destroys people's health. Okay, so you can easily change these formulas into reasons as well. So we can make opinions, we can make reasons, we can make examples, we can make concluding sentences, we can do all this stuff here. And then our last formula, the most difficult, subject, subject, verb, verb. Okay, give an example here. Here we go. The patient and family struggle and cope with stress. Okay, here's subject, subject, verb, verb. This deals with euthanasia. I think it's alaksa in Korean. Turn it into a final reason. Finally, the patient and family struggle and cope with stress. Okay, very nice. Okay, so there you go. Those are some ways that you can take our signals and make them into some nice sentences, add some formulas to it, and we can have something that looks very nice. So take these formulas, add it to the signal, boom, got something very, very good here. Okay? All right, so I just gave you a couple of writing tips. Now for this week, what you guys are going to do is you're going to start working on your first project, your first assignment, okay, your persuasive paragraph. So what do you need to think about? Well, here's something you need to think about for your persuasive paragraph. Please, when you're choosing a topic, don't worry about me. Don't think about what I would want. Okay, think about something that you like, something that is important for you. Choose something interesting for you. Don't worry about me. Okay, it's got to be fun for you. Make sure it's a topic that has two sides. It's got to be an issue, right or wrong, good or bad, yes or no, useful, not useful. So it's got to have two sides. Okay. Please do not use electronic translators like Nader or Google. Those translators, they give some crazy English on there. So please, I just gave you some ways, some tips to write simple sentences for yourself. So using a dictionary is okay. You can use a dictionary, translate a word or two, but don't use full sentences in your translators. Okay, that English is crazy. Okay. Please do not procrastinate. Don't wait until the very last minute, and do not plagiarize. Plagiarize means take from another source, or basically steal from somebody else. If you plagiarize, I will give you a 0 for sure. Okay, maybe not for the class, but for this assignment, I will give you a 0 if you plagiarize. So, use your own words, do it yourself. I think you can do it. Okay? All right, guys, that's basically it. I'm going to make another video here about the guidelines. So that's it for your persuasive paragraph. I hope you learned something from the video. I'll show you a new video on the guidelines here in just a moment. Okay? See you soon.